Alrighty, we got our Normatec boots, chilling on the couch and ready to answer some questions. First up, race day. Which is better for that day? Running by pace rate or heart rate? So my first answer going to be is, are you looking for a time goal or are you just looking to finish? If you are just looking to finish, then realistically, go off vibes. Have a good time, enjoy your race, whatever distance it is, and just go out there, finish it, and have fun. Now, if you're going for a time, then you want to go based on your pace, and your heart rate is going to be what it is going to be. So whether you're shooting for sub 3, sub 4, sub 5, a 230, a 242, whatever exact goal you have, going into the race, you should have a good idea of what pace you want to be hitting. And so you should be racing at that pace. Now, a good idea is you have 26 miles if you're doing a marathon, so usually taking those first 3 miles, maybe about 10 seconds slower than you need to, and then steadily. So yeah, the TLDR on that one is that if you are racing for a time goal, you should want to shoot for your pace rate. If you are just going to finish and have fun, then go off the vibes. Heart rate will be what it's going to be on race day. That stuff is a little bit more important in training to get ready for the race. Phenomenal question, and can make a huge difference on your race day. What time to wake up and eat? It depends on how far away your race is. If you are close by it, you generally want to get to your race, 30 to 45 minutes before you need to be at the line. Give yourself a chance to warm up. Go through a couple drills, and then also relax down a little bit into your race mode so that you actually feel ready to go. When it comes to eating, this is going to be, again, a little bit dependent on what your stomach can handle. For me, my personal favorite breakfast is oatmeal with maple syrup. I will generally have that for most of my races, whether it's a 5K race or a marathon, and I'll generally eat that anywhere around like 2 hours before the race. And then generally, if it's going to be a longer race, I'll have a Martin gel, or I'll start doing my fueling prep about 15 minutes before. All of this on what to eat is, again, make sure that it's going to be dependent on you. You want to eat something, especially if it's going to be a longer race. You want to get carbs, you want to get some sugars in, you want something that's going to last, and you want something that's going to be easy on the stomach. So if you can handle PB&Js, great. If you like to have waffles, great. Kodiak is a great brand. I found that those sit pretty well on my stomach for doing long workouts and long races. Again, for me personally, half a cup of oatmeal with maple syrup is a great way to start the day. It's easy on the stomach, and then it'll carry me through the race and even a few miles in before I really need to start getting into my gel fueling plan. Carbon shoes on race day. Yes. They're worth it every time. They do make a difference depending on how fast you are. Realistically, the faster you are, the bigger difference this is going to make. But carbon-plated shoes, worth it on race day, absolutely every time. Cheer My Run app, that was just commented. I had to go research this to see what it was, but it's actually a pretty cool app. From my understanding, you create an account, you put your race in, and then people can send you cheers throughout your race for motivation. They can give you a little motivational pep talks, or send stuff that goes directly to your watch, your phone, your earbuds, voice messages. So I've never used this, but if you're the type of person that you need that kind of mid-race motivation, this seems like a pretty cool little app to check out. What it's worth, these are the Nike Vaporflies. This is one of my favorite running shoes of all times. I absolutely love the way they feel. Technically, the Alpha Flies are a little bit of a faster shoe, but I generally just love how these shoes feel, and they have a little bit better price tag on them. That is for everything road related, and then I have the Adidas Terrex. These are for anything trail related. These are also a trail carbon shoe, so I will be rocking these in a half marathon in a couple weeks. But those are my 2 recommendations for at least my personal favorite shoes. All right, what is the best strategy for tackling them hills while conserving energy? Easiest thing is just back it off. As I mentioned in the earlier post, we do care about pace, but that pace is going to fall off significantly more if you try to aggressively push a hill. Your heart rate spikes, you get into that upper zone 4, you exhaust, and then all of a sudden you're running behind on energy, you're feeling more tired, you get to the top of the hill and you feel like you need to stop. So in this case, especially for a marathon distance, it is better to be a little bit more conservative on the hills, back it down, steady into the heart rate that you feel like you've been doing on the flat roads, and then kind of grind your way to the top. You want to keep that pace over the peak so you're not slowing down over the peak, and then once you get to that, then you can coast back into your normal paces. On a faster race, you just grind up them hills though. Yeah, I will have for this racing strategy, and when it comes to hills, is that if you are pursuing a very aggressive pace, so if you are shooting for a sub-3 marathon and you know that your normal pacing is really just like right above that 3 or right under it, then it can be worth letting that heart rate come up and trying to push through that hill if you know that it's going to be a make or break time and you know that you've trained it enough that you're going to be able to bring your heart rate back down once you've crested the hill. So some of this is knowing your body a little bit, and again, knowing what your time is and how much time you have to spare. Give first-time marathoners just one piece of advice to race day. This is hard, because if it's only one piece, it would be fuel early and fuel often. Go with what you have trained with, and take your gels, take your water, do all that stuff earlier than you think you need to. Because once you start feeling tired, once you start feeling dehydrated, it is too late. So take it before you need it. Take it 30 minutes in, and then about every 30 minutes or so, refuel, rehydrate. It can be a quick sip at your aid stations. If you are carrying bottles, then you can just take quick sips while you're doing it. But in general, fuel early, fuel often. Best mental strategy for getting through miles 20 through 26. You've already made it 20 miles in. There ain't no way in hell you're not finishing now. Just keep that in mind. You've already made it most of the way through. You're pretty much there. If you've done your fueling right, hopefully you're still feeling all right. Probably a little bit tired, but you're on the final stretch. Whenever I have a long race, once I start getting that back stretch, especially about the halfway point really, so even before those last 6 miles, it's a countdown. I start counting miles down. As soon as I get through the halfway mark, I'm like, all right, one less mile. You hit mile 20, start counting them down. Just counting down, getting closer and closer to that finish line. Great question, and I know a lot of people struggle with this one. Would you carry a water bottle or rely on water stations? This does depend on the race and how frequent those water stations are. It depends on your sweat rate, how sweaty you are, how hot the day is. If it's a relatively cool day, I'm not sure the exact temperatures that are going to be for this Sunday San Francisco Marathon, but I know it starts pretty early, so they're trying to beat the heat. The aid station should be laid out that you can get a quick sip pretty much at every aid station, and that should do pretty well for you. If you're in a long race, I know they have the SF Ultra as well. Generally, it's a little bit better to carry your water with you if you know that you're going to need it. But I generally rely on aid stations. I try to carry as little on me as possible. That's my personal preference, though. I don't like carrying much except for maybe 1 or 2 gels that fit perfectly for me. This is one that I haven't had a question come in for, but it is more of a comment that gets brought up a lot during taper weeks, especially when you're reducing volume, is I feel like crap. My legs hurt, this thing hurts, I'm tired, I feel antsy, I feel nervous, I feel agitated, and I just want to tell you that if you are doing your taper properly, these things are all completely normal. If you're going from very high volume and you're doing your taper right, you're reducing your volume, you're keeping just a couple touch point sessions, it's gonna feel really weird. That is completely normal. The things I want to make sure that you understand during this is you still keep a little bit of intensity, get a couple little race pace efforts during the week, but really cut the volume down. There's no additional fitness you're going to gain in that week. Make sure you prioritize recovery. eat well and hydrate well. Those are all super important. Absolutely, you can run your half marathon without any gels. And if you haven't been training with them and you don't know what's going to feel good on the stomach, then yes, you can. Do I recommend it? That's a little bit less so. You will probably end up fading off a little bit more in the back part of the half. A lot of this does also depend on pacing and effort. If you're pushing, zone 2, zone 3, you're trying to finish your race, you're probably going to be fine, especially if you get like a decent breakfast. You get your oatmeal, you get some waffles, you get some carbs in the morning, you're probably going to be pretty okay. Half marathon is just pushing that length where you do need a little bit in the system. That being said, if you're pushing hard efforts, you're pushing zone 4 and you're going to deplete your energy reserves early, it's good to have some gels for the race. Up to this question, for marathon distance, pretty much any and everyone is going to need some level of fueling for it. Again, the half, especially if it's a faster half on, like the under 90 minutes, that hour and a half, you can kind of get away with it, but it's about, it would still be good to have the 1 or 2 gels. Pretty much anything under an hour, you don't really need it though, but I did add a little bit of a chart on here too, just so you can compare. On that as well, everybody is a little bit different, so how much you need is going to be dependent on you. The gut is trainable. Most people find themselves somewhere around the 30 to 60 grams per hour for carbs. If you are doing half marathon, or if you're doing marathon, ultras, anything like that, Ironmans, halves, most people around the 60. Professionals and trained athletes are generally around 90 to 120.